What is up, you guys? My name is Breyonna, and today we are going to be testing out a palette that I'm actually really curious about, and that is the brand new Urban Decay Stoned Vibes palette. And just a side note, like the packaging of this palette literally is like blowing my mind. Like it's just so beautiful, and I've never seen anything like it before. And I gotta say, out of all the palettes in my collection, this is probably like my favorite packaged palette ever. Like it's just so cool and so different. And I don't know if you guys can see all the detailing with the stones, but they are super sparkly in person. And they're actually 3D too, which is really cool. Personally, I'm not an ASMR person, but this just sounds so cool. So here's the color story of this palette, and as you can see, it's actually mostly shimmer shades, and normally I'm somebody that gravitates towards more matte palettes, but what really caught my eye about this one though is that the shimmers in here have this really cool like marbling effect in the pan. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's just really interesting. But before we jump into using this palette, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on my Instagram page or my TikTok, it is at Breyonna Faye as well. So before we jump into using the palette, I do want to prime my eyelids, and I'm just going to be using my absolute favorite, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. Like, I just love this stuff so much, so any excuse I get to use it, I'm going to use it. And I'm going to do maybe like a pea size on the back of my hand, something along those lines. And I'm just going to be using this brush from Morphe to apply it. And this one is from the Pride collection. It's kind of like a flat shader brush, but it's a little bit on the thicker side. You know, today I just want to sit down and play around with this palette and just do something I normally don't do with my makeup, but I'm trying to figure out like which matte I want to go in with because all of them are really warm except this one right here called Third Eye, and that one though is really dark, but you know what, let's just go in with it. Ooh, I am hoping that this one does not do me dirty, but I'm just going to go in with this brush from Anastasia. This is a A26. And I'm first going to be popping this right into my crease. You know, I was really afraid of putting this shade in my crease right away, but honestly, it's not bad at all to work with. Like, it's actually blending out fairly quickly. And again, once I get it in my crease, I'm just doing these like little circular motions to buff it out towards my brow. And I'm also using it to round out my outer V. I gotta say, like, upon initial application, like, that has some pigment to it. And you know, in the pan, it definitely looks kind of like a purpley brown, but when applied, it almost looks like this, like, grayish purple. So I'm just gonna go in with another layer just to kind of see what happens and to see if it builds up. Ooh, she does build up, though. Like, that's actually a really nice shade. You know, sometimes when you go in with darker shades right away, like, they can do you completely dirty. But this was actually very easy to work with. And also I want to mention that this shade has literally blended itself out. Like it has taken me literally no effort to use it. Because sometimes when I use other palettes in my collection, it takes me like 20 minutes to blend out a shade. And it's like, girl, sometimes I do not have time for that. So I really appreciate a formula that blends itself out. So I got a little carried away chatting and I accidentally overblended my shadows. So you can kind of see it's looking a little chunky right here underneath my brow. And I'm going to show you guys how I fix it. So I'm just going to go back in with the palette and I'm going to go in with this kind of like ivory shade called Good Karma. You can use any shade that is similar in skin tone to you underneath your brow right here. And I'm just going to be taking it on this brush from Lavish. It's like a little shader brush. And I'm going to take it the long way and run it right underneath my brow doing back and forth motions. And this will help soften that edge a lot. And it'll make it look less chunky and less harsh. And with no additional product, I'm just going to go back in with that brush that we applied Third Eye with and just buff out the edges again. Now, normally I'm somebody that loves to do a cut crease, but I actually just want to do something a little bit different today. So we're going to start working on the lid. And I really want to go in with this blue shade right here. And I'm not too sure if I'm going to say it right, but I believe it's called Oho. Okay, I am so excited to use this shade. Like, I barely dipped my brush into it. And I mean, like, look how much came off. And I'm just going to go in with this damp and flat shader brush. Oh my gosh, like that is so pretty. I don't know if you guys can see it as well as I do in person, but it is so metallic. It's kind of like a bright blue, and it has like, I would say like lavender and like silver reflex. It's a really beautiful shade. So my other eye, I'm just going to take it using my finger because I want to see if it makes a difference or not. Because the formula of this shimmer is a little bit more of like a cream in a way. Like it's a powder, but it has like this creaminess to it. So personally, I don't see any difference between using a brush and my finger. Like to me, they give the exact same amount of payoff. And also when I'm applying this blue, I am slightly going above my natural crease just because I have slightly hooded eyes, and this helps open them up a little bit more. So to help me blend in the blue shade into everything else that we have going on, I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more of Third Eye. And I'm just taking it on this angled little fluffy brush. This is a Makeup of the Day Come Through Contour. And I'm just packing Third Eye on in this outer third of my eye, right on my lid next to the blue. I'm also slightly going into my crease. And once it's packed down, I'm just taking whatever's left on my brush and feathering it in towards that blue to help blend the two colors together. And I'm also kind of like finessing the edge of the blue, just so we don't have any harsh lines. I'm just doing these like little back and forth motions. So once you have that all nice and finessed, the next shade that we are going to be using on the lid is this one right here called Raw Energy. And then I'm just using it on a different flat shader brush dampen. And this is kind of like a smoky purple with green and silver reflex to it. And I'm just going to be applying it to the rest of my lid, anywhere that that base is still showing. But ooh, that actually is really cool looking. And then using whatever's left on my brush, I'm kind of like finessing it into that blue that we just applied, just so we don't have any chunkiness. This one does feel a little bit harder in the pan than the blue that we just used, and I'm not too sure why that is, but it still is really, really metallic. And I'm also taking it a little bit above my crease again, just to help open up the eye. But you see what I mean though? It is definitely applying a little bit more like a smoky gray instead of like a purpley color with green sparkle to it. It's still a really pretty shade though. I just wish it was like a little bit more purple when applied. So far though, I'm actually really liking how this look is turning out. It's kind of like a softer smoky eye in a way, and I also really like that it's super cool tone because I'm kind of bored of warm tones right now. But off camera though, I'm just going to kind of like clean things up a little bit because I do have a little bit of fallout from those shimmer shades. And I'm also going to apply like my complexion products and all of that. And then afterwards, I'll be right back to finish up the look. So using my right now the look, and now we're going to start working on the lower lash line just so things aren't as top heavy. And I'm just going to go back in with that shade called Third Eye, that grungy purple that we used earlier. And I'm just going to be applying it to my lower lash line using this brush from Luxie. It is a 231 small tapered blending brush. And when I'm doing this, I'm just doing back and forth motions. So once you have that lower lash line all nice and smoky, now we're going to be doing my absolute favorite part, which is the inner corner highlight. And we're also going to be going in with the shade that I'm the most curious about, and that is this beautiful icy one called Opal. And then using this little dampen pencil brush from Lavish, I'm just going to be packing this super heavily into my inner corner. Like I am really pressing it in there because I want it extra blinding. But oh my gosh, like that is an inner corner highlight. Like she's super, super pretty. And in the pan, this shade kind of looks like an icy blue with pink and purple reflex to it. But once applied, it just looks like a super icy color with a little hint of pink to it. It's actually really pretty and super blinding. I hope my camera's doing it justice, because like in person, it has like that wet metallic glittery look to it. I'm also going to take a little bit underneath my eye just to help open it up. I'm going maybe like a third the way inwards. I gotta say, I really love how this look turned out. It's very like sultry, it's cool tone, which I love because I'm really sick of warm tones right now, and also it is extra sparkly. And I gotta say, when I first saw this palette, I was like, girl, like the packaging super beautiful, and like it literally like drew me into the palette. And then when I saw the color story, I was like, I don't think this is really like something I'm gonna be about, because I really like my dark glam smoky eyes. I love a lot of shine, I love glitter, and when I first saw this palette, it looked a little bit bland to me. However, once I used it and put it on my eyes right now, I actually really like how it looks. Like when I say it exceeded my expectations, like I literally mean it, because like when I see a color story like this, it just does not like scream Breyonna to me, if you know what I mean. Like when I look at some palettes, I'm like, that is totally my thing. I know I'm gonna be obsessed with it. And when I saw this one, it just looked like a basic palette to me in a way. As for the formula of this palette, overall, I am so impressed with it. I mean, I literally went in with this matte shade called Third Eye with no transition shades before it, and it applied literally like butter. It was super easy to work with, and it also looked really nice and smooth on the eye. Like if you're a beginner and you just go in with that one like I did, I don't think you're gonna have any problems blending it out, and it also built up beautifully in the crease. As for the shimmers, they are definitely the star of this show. Like they are so intensely sparkly and they just have a lot of dimension to them, and they overall look really cool in the eye. I especially love this one called Opal. I guess it's called Opal Aura. And I also like this blue one called Oho, I believe is how you say it. I feel like I'm saying it wrong, so if you know how to say it, let me know in the comments down below. But those ones just had such a beautiful formula. They were very creamy and just really easy to apply. This is one of those palettes, though, I would definitely recommend doing your eyes before your face because the shimmers in here did give me a little bit of fallout. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend this palette to you guys? And honestly, I definitely recommend checking it out. Like if you love the color story of it and you've been eyeing it and you're like, I don't know if I should try it or not, I think you're gonna be really happy with the formula overall. Like the matte in here was so easy to work with and very easy to blend out, and the shimmer shades, oh my gosh, like they have so much dimension to them and they look so sparkly on the eyes. And again, like the packaging of this palette is so beautiful and just so unique. Like I just have never seen anything like it before, and it's just really eye-catching. But even though I really like the formula of this palette and the packaging, like she is really pricey. It is $54. Like it is definitely up there for an eyeshadow palette. But again, if you're okay with the price tag and you love the color story of it, I think it is definitely worth checking out. And with this palette, you only get 12 eyeshadows, but you also get a double-sided brush. And I forgot to mention, but the palette itself is a little bit on the chunkier side. So it's not like super sleek, but you could definitely travel with it if you wanted to. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look right here, and also let me know if you're going to be picking up this palette or not. But as always though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on my Instagram page, it is @Breyonna Faye. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!